what I'm going to talk about is essentially one of the beautiful things that's happened. And I'm not going to sound like some old duffer and go, do you remember application service providers, right? And that's the same as we were. What we're talking about here is the agility and ability to deliver your thing, your license, your monetized experience, if you want to call it that, in a way in which you are minimizing the risk to yourself in terms of capital risk, to the market, to the demand, but also maximizing how you can respond to it. And I think the wonderful thing that has happened in the last 10 years or so is that we've slowly, and it is much, much slower than any of us would like to think, right? I was asked the other day, what were you doing 10 years ago from a technology perspective? And the answer is a little bit like, well, sort of the same thing, it just didn't work, right? And so where you are today and where the opportunity is today, and I think there is a distinctive moment, those of us who are old enough, and I'm looking at the audience and I would say most are, 1997 was a good year, right? I distinctly enjoyed that. The early 2000s were pretty miserable, let's face it. And then it seems to have sparked up again. But what's interesting about now is there is an opportunity. Laurent talked about Internet of Things. There is an opportunity in terms of your delivery and your devices that really is something that you can capture. But the only thing I would really strongly stress right now is that there is an opportunity and lots of things are changing. They're not changing in what I would call there's a brand new technology that's changed, something radical. What's happening is you've had a collation of events which is fundamentally changing things like the disappearance of the physical supply chain, right, which most of us are familiar with. These sorts of things are changing. So the opportunity is there for you to make some rather shrewd decisions and also hedge your bets. And what I'm going to talk about a bit is how you can think about, if you like, hedging your bets to some extent, but also make you aware at some level some of the things that have happened in the last 10 years, which, frankly, most of you possibly aren't aware of and possibly don't care about. A good friend of mine who I started these companies with works for a large software vendor, and he always refers to what I do as sort of the mechanics, right? And moves on to a subject more interesting. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the mechanics, but hopefully tie it into how you can be as optimal in your platform selection at a cost, capex, risk, and agility perspective.